That I'm going to cover is a franchise that is very near and dear to my heart, even though, because for me, I know most of y'all on the stream know me as like the horror guy, and I wasn't always this way. It took me a while to get into the horror genre, and one of those things that got me into it was the Saw films. It was like that was like one of my first introductions to horror. It was like seeing those movies on when they were airing on the Sci-Fi Channel. That was back when cable TV was a thing. And every Halloween, every October, they would always like air all the movies on there. And even though I will only say like maybe 3 of the movies are legitimately good, I was really taken by how these movies really leaned into becoming this like really twisted soap opera. It's like every movie kind of had like a previously on. It was like threads that were set up in one movie don't come back until several movies later. It's like seeing how convoluted all this entire story is, the lengths they go to bring back Tobin Bell even after they killed his character in the 3rd movie. And Saw X is the newest film that is directed by Patrick Gruder, who directed my favorite Saw film, which was 6, and also the worst Saw film, which was 7. And it is bringing back Tobin Bell as Jigsaw, setting it in between Saws 1 and 2. And this is the first film that really focuses in on John Kramer as its protagonist and dealing with this horror of this cancer diagnosis, feeling the kind of grief and feeling the shame. And Kramer gets cocked into this experimental treatment down in Mexico where it's like, hey, we can save your life. You just have to pay us a lot of money to do it. And
usually how it goes.
And of course,
American healthcare.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
of course, John Kramer got conned. And even though he says that this isn't retribution, it's like, come on, bro. But I think a real strength of this film is that even throughout the worst of the Saw films, it's like a constant grounding anchor was always Tobin Bell's performance as John Kramer. And seeing the like 40 chess that this guy plays with different characters throughout every single one of these movies, it's so much fun to watch. And Bell plays it with such this earnestness of this character. Is like as twisted as his psychology is, because he gets fucked up in the later movies. In this one, you feel you kind of understand him more than you do in any of the other Saw films. And I think that's a huge part, because you get because this is the first time in all of these movies where you really feel like the people in these traps deserve it, because they are ripping off dying people who are like clinging on to this last hope, and they are preying on it. And this really does a good job of giving a real antagonist to John Kramer and giving a real fun foil to him, because he's so much on another level throughout all of the other movies that it's nice to see him get played, at least so you think. But as far as like what people come to these movies for, as far as the trap, seeing the gore, all of that is here in spades. And it probably has one of my favorite traps that you got to see a little bit in the trailer of the brain surgery. But you also see some new interesting ones where you get a lot of what made this franchise so cool, and you get to see why people like it and see that charm of the first movie.
I'd like to play a game. Perhaps one that addresses those sticky fingers of yours. I've had my eyes on you, and I do not like what I see. Your job as a custodian is a noble one, sanitizing and sterilizing the hospital, helping patients avoid sickness. But there is a sickness inside you that needs to be
So it's a Stevie Wonder, Jenna Jameson trap because blind sticky fingers.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Across the 5 positions, and you will live to see another day. You have 60 seconds. Help, please.
Oh, that sucks.
That's great.
And something that this movie does so well is like every single trap segment that you get, it is so tense. It's like because I saw the movie twice. I saw it both with like a really solid crowd that was into it, and you could feel all of the every time like something messed up in one of the traps happens.
That's fun.
All of the
That's always
effects
fun.
look so cool. And something I think works really well in this, because you have also besides Tobin Bell reprising his role as John Kramer, you also have Shawnee Smith, who's reprising her role as Amanda Young. And for all you remember, Amanda was like a survivor of Jigsaw who eventually becomes his apprentice,
right? Yeah.
And something that I think the movies didn't do a good job of was really selling Amanda's turn as an apprentice to Jigsaw, and especially in the third movie, really selling her disillusionment with his whole philosophy. And because the whole conceit of the third movie is like Amanda was starting to set up the traps, but they were all unwinnable. It was like she was just became a murderer. And I feel like in this movie, it does a much better job of selling the transition of like a full believer into more of a skeptic.
That was going to be my question, because this takes place between 2 and 3, right?
This takes place between 1 and 2.
Oh, 1 and 2. Okay. So like, do you think this works as like a really good prequel for that franchise?
Oh, as far as like a prequel of this franchise, this works fantastically. It's like it gives so much more layers to John Kramer. It's like as you know, because the movie doesn't really ask you to see him as a hero. It's like, no, this man is a complete monster and a psychopath. But Bell is so committed to the character and so committed in his performance that even if you don't sympathize with the guy, you understand why he does this. Even in his own very warped philosophy.
I got you. Okay. Because
and ultimately, it led me into thinking, because I wasn't looking forward to this movie. I was like, Saw was a franchise that's very near and dear to my heart, but there are more bad Saw movies than there are good.
Yeah, I saw Spiral, and I was like, God damn.
I liked the idea of what they were going for with Spiral, and this has the same writers as that. This has the same writers.
Oh, that's interesting.
This has the same writers as Spiral and Jigsaw, which was, I think, the 2017 reboot that was directed by the Spear brothers.
Okay.
And as much as I dislike Spiral, that soundtrack's kind of a banger.
It is.
Yeah,
it's very good.
It's Chris Rock wanting to, not some of you have a lane. Like, not all of you can be.
I love Chris Rock, but I
do too.
No,
he is not a good actor.
But it's like,
but his best scenes in that movie are when he plays off Samuel Jackson. But going back to Saw X, this feels like it, because horror franchises, there's such this temptation to just crap out a movie, just go back and put stuff in that people love and remember from older movies, and not really put in a lot of effort as far as telling a story. And here, they absolutely do that. They do so much to add layers and depth to John Kramer, and so much of that is owed to Bell's performance, because he has always consistently been the best part about every single Saw movie that he's in. And it's cool to see that even in the 2000s, we're getting a different horror icon. It's like Tobin Bell is like the Robert Englund to the Nightmare on Elm Street of this franchise. It's like if they announced a reboot of Saw, I wouldn't want anybody else playing this character because he truly gets it. And for me, just to get my final thoughts on this, I am a fan of this franchise as kind of like batshit, as like very middling of in terms of quality as a lot of these movies are. It's like when a Saw movie is good, it feels like it's something special. Like I love the first one, I love Saw 2, I really like Saw 4, even though I recognize it's not a good movie, just for how insane it is in terms of filmmaking. And also Saw 6 is excellent. And I feel like this is straight up the best Saw movie.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like 10 years, it's like 20 years of this almost like 18 years of this franchise. And you're still finding new avenues to go through as far as this character goes. The gore and the traps, they're all really fun to watch. The segments that you get it's nail-bitingly tense. And I was like on the edge of my seat every single one of these segments. You get a great performance out of Shawnee Smith, who I liked the character. I just felt like the actor wasn't really up to the task, but I really loved her dynamic with Tobin Bell and seeing that chemistry and seeing that dynamic between the two of them. And and it was one of those things because it's coming in a Saw movie. You know that there's going to be a twist.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you're going to get that Hello Zepp needle drop of
I love that song
of the in the movie. And when it happens in here, it's like you could feel the cheers in my theater.
Wow.
That's
great.
Like, yeah!
Because I like the first Saw movie. I mean, I will say Jigsaw is basically like Puppet Tupac at this point, where it's just like you think, you think he's gone, but to say that 10, I mean, I'll guess 10 films in because we just won't count Spiral. 10 films in to go ahead and still be delivering, a quality film despite the other ones. Like that's impressive for any franchise. So.
Yeah, it's impressive for any franchise. And, and just going back to my thoughts is like, it's like another thing. It's like a really special thing when you get a franchise like this. You understand the tropes, you understand the structure. It's like, you don't think a movie is like this is going to hit as hard. But then you hear that needle drop. You hear that needle drop, and it is the most satisfying I think I've ever seen in one of these movies.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And it helps that you have a real foil and a real antagonist to Kramer, who here is Cecilia Peterson, who's played by Synnøve Makodi Lund.
Damn, that name.
Yeah. She's a Nordic actress. You've probably seen her in this movie, Headhunters. She was in The Girl in the Spider's Web, which was that really horrible, that horrible.
Oh, yeah.
But
I like her. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a almost stiffness to her delivery. But towards the third act, where she really shows her claws as the villain in this movie, it's fun to watch. But and for me, as a fan of this franchise, I give this a very strong tune in. I had a lot of fun with it. I love seeing Tobin Bell's performance. I love that this is the first Saw movie where he really gets to be a prominent part of it, because it really hasn't been since Saw 2.
Okay.
That's wild.
I loved his dynamic with Shawnee Smith, who's reprising her role as Amanda. I really dug the performances of the people in the traps, because you got so much of this like I feel like this movie does the sympathy with the devil arc better than a lot of movies that I've seen, especially in terms of horror.
Okay.
Jinx.
See, like your love for the franchise really makes me want to. I need to start the binge like soon for all the movies.
Yeah,
It's a shockingly fun binge.
I need to do it. I feel like I've only seen like 1 and 2, maybe.
I think I got through 4, and I just went, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, and I've shown you 4. It's like 4 is not a good movie, but it's just so much fun to watch in terms of just this insanity and how it's made.
I feel like
is that the
4
one with like
really
all the
acted
crazy
me.
transitions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm downloading the clip right now, but I feel like
God.
it's kind of one of those things. It's like, okay, this is a franchise that by the time 4 rolled around, it was already dominating Halloween for like the early 2000s. It's like every single year there was a new Saw movie. It really spawned a new subgenre in horror as far as like bringing more a focus on gore, bringing the like visceralness into horror, because prior to that it was really like a lot of Scream knockoffs, a lot of stuff that was focusing on
we got Eli Roth because
audience.
of Saw. So thanks, Saw. See what you did.
Yeah, I was looking to see when Hostel came out.
I love Hostel 2. But yeah,
do you
Hostel
really?
It's like we're showing clips from Saw 4. It's like transitions. It's like
shit, damn.
Insane.
Okay, that was great.
I love it.
That's not even the craziest one.
This is my favorite one, I think. Where's that?
Yes.
Wow. Good God.
We got a match.
You check this?
Twice.
Oh. I guess we're. Oh, this is my favorite one.
I think I know. Yep.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
they were having fun making this one.
And nothing in Saw X gets as crazy, but there's just like this almost playfulness with the filmmaking that makes it so much fun.
Oh,
that's kind of awesome.
It's like, but that's my review for Saw X. I give it a very strong tune in as a fan of the franchise, as somebody that is really, really just happy that horror is in as good a place as it is in the 2020s, because we had an all-time year with 2022 with stuff like Black Phone, X, Pearl, Barbarian. And even in this year, we're getting so much incredible stuff like Scream 6, like Talk to Me, and like No One Will Save You, which will lead me into my next review. But that was my review for Saw X. What do y'all think in the comments? For the people who see it, let me know down below.